Welcome back. I'm Anshul from Quantshala. So today we had a quiz on sequence and series on the Facebook group. Enthusiastic participation. Many of the aspirants got a lot of correct answers. Many got incorrect answers as well. But all in all, a great learning experience for all the aspirants because I'm sure that whatever mistakes aspirants made today will not make in the future. So the quiz was held at 11 p.m. today. It contained 9 questions to be done solved in 20 minutes. So very close to the actual CAT time limit. And the top three scorers or top three winners get one-on-one mentoring session and doubt solving session with me. So that will be a great experience as well because all of you can ask whatever questions you have with respect to preparation in any section that एक सेक्शन अच्छा हो रहा है एक नहीं हो रहा और you're facing problems with accuracy, you're facing problems with time, you're facing problems with panicking during mocks or any of it. So a lot of aspirants have been interacting with me. So a lot of these common questions keep coming to me. I'll make a common video to answer all these questions as well. बट तब तक आपके जो भी पर्सनल क्वेश्चंस हैं विद रिस्पेक्ट टू कैट प्रिपरेशन कोई भी डाउट्स हैं दैट यू कैन अटेम्प्ट दीज क्विजेज एंड हैव गेट अ वन ऑन वन मेंटोरिंग कॉल विद मी. बाकी फेसबुक ग्रुप पे यू कैन आस्क एनी सॉर्ट ऑफ क्वेश्चंस विद रिस्पेक्ट टू कैट प्रिपरेशन एंड आई एम आंसरिंग दोज पर्सनली. बट इसमें यू गेट अ 30 minute और 45 minute कॉल विद मी विच विल बी अ ग्रेट एक्सपीरियंस एज वेल. सो नॉट ओनली द कॉल, इस क्विज से और क्या फ़ायदा होता है आपको कि for every chapter, see, you are completing chapters one by one for quant, and now after 3 or 4 months you might realize कि यार इस chapter में ये problem रह गई. So after completing each chapter you have to make sure that you've actually completed that chapter and you are able to solve questions well within the time limit. So after this quiz, after a timed test, you will get one of two outcomes. Either you will get to know that okay ये मेरा chapter हो चुका है, you will get confidence in that chapter, or you might feel that okay मेरे से question solve नहीं हो रहे या questions हो रहे हैं but time limit में नहीं हो रहे, then you might need to revisit some concepts or more practice questions for the chapter. So this is very important for any CAT aspirant, such quizzes, timed tests, chapter wise. So do join the Facebook group where we are holding these quizzes or not. It's very good to watch the solutions, solve the questions yourself, but it's even better if you attempt these quizzes live with all the other aspirants. That will be a great experience as well. So generally we are holding these quizzes at 11 p.m. on each Sunday, and then at 11:30 we are posting this video. So let's get started with the quiz questions. So as I said, there will be 9 questions to be solved in 20 minutes, but we will take more than 20 minutes because for each question we'll get into details of how many methods, what all methods are there to solve that question, some tips and tricks, conceptual clarity and all. So if you feel that you don't need to watch all the questions, you need to watch only some specific questions, go to the first comment, you will find the timing of each question there. So you can directly jump to whichever question you want to watch. So let's get started. In an arithmetic progression, the first term is half the value of the second term. The first and the fifth terms of this AP are respectively equal to the first and fifth terms of a geometric progression. Okay, so two progressions are there. One is arithmetic, one is geometric, and there is some relation between them. The difference of ninth terms of this sequence is always divisible by. Okay, so the first line gives me very good information. In AP, first term is half the value of the second term. Okay, so which means A1 is equal to half of A2, or you can write it as half of A plus D. Okay, so it means A is equal to half of A plus D. This gives us A is equal to D. Otherwise also you can see simply A2 is A plus D, right? And this is twice of A. That means D has to be equal to A. So the first term is A, second term is 2A. Okay, so now we know A equal to D, very crucial. The first and fifth terms of this AP are respectively equal to the first and fifth terms of the geometric progression. Okay, so for the geometric progression also, first term is A and the fifth term will be A r raised to power 4 if r is the common ratio. And what is the fifth term of our AP? That will be A plus 4D and D is A only. So we get A r raised to power 4 is equal to 5A, or we get r raised to power 4 is equal to 5, and hence we get r is equal to 5 raised to power 1 by 4. The difference between ninth terms of these sequences is always divisible by. Okay, So first let's calculate the G9, which is the ninth term of the GP. That will be AR raised to power 8 is equal to A into 5 raised to power 1 by 4 whole raised to power 8, which becomes A into 25. Okay. What is A9, which is the ninth term of arithmetic progression? That is A plus 8A, because D is equal to A, is equal to 9A. If you calculate the difference, what is that going to be? G9 minus A9, or the other way around, because this question doesn't mention which way we need to take the difference, and anyway it doesn't matter also, because ultimately we have to calculate a factor of that. So 25A minus 9A comes out to be 16A. So this will always be divisible by 16. So C is the answer in this case. Moving on to question number 2. So data sufficiency question. CAT always has 1 or 2 questions of this format. So it's good to practice on this format also, so that you know what kinds of options are here. So here we have a question: what is the arithmetic mean of x and y? Okay, and then there are 2 statements, and then we need to answer how many statements or which statements exactly are required to answer this question. So what is the arithmetic mean of x and y? Geometric mean of x and y is 4. So geometric mean of x, y and 4 means under root xy is equal to 4, or you get xy is equal to 16. This alone gives us no information about what can be the arithmetic mean of x and y. The arithmetic mean of 2x, 2y, 40 and 80 is 50. Okay, I think this should be it, because this will tell me about the sum of all these 4 numbers, and then I'll get the sum of 2x and 2y, which means I will also get the sum of x and y. So arithmetic mean is, first of all, x plus y by 2. This is what we need to find out. Xy is equal to 16 does not give us much information about it, because there can be multiple cases. Xy could be 16 multiplied by 1 or 8 multiplied by 2, and infinite other such cases, in fact, because these are not even integers. So here let me write this second statement. So 2x plus 2y plus 40 plus 80 is divided by 4 is equal to 50. So this tells me that 2x plus 2y is equal to 4 multiplied by 50, 200, minus 120 is equal to 80. So this tells me that x plus y by 2 is equal to 20. Arithmetic mean is 20. So using the second statement alone, I can do it. Okay. So using the second statement alone, I can do it. Using the first statement alone, I cannot do it. So let's read the options. The question can be answered using one of these statements alone, but cannot be answered using the other statement alone. Okay. This looks to be our answer. Let's still read the other options. The question can be answered using either statement alone. No, because second statement is sufficient alone to answer the question. First one is not. The question can be answered using both statements together, but not using any statement alone. This is also wrong, because we can use only second statement. The question cannot be answered even using both statements. Okay, so our answer is A for this one. So moving on to question number 3. The sum of first 25 terms of an AP is 500. The sum of next 75 terms is 5250. If the first and ninth terms of this AP are the second and third terms of a GP, what is the sum of first 6 terms of the GP? Okay. So as I see it, there is an AP, some conditions given about the AP, some relation between this AP and GP, and finally the questions are asked about GP. So first we'll solve the condition which is given for AP. Sum of first 25 terms is 500. So what is the formula for sum of AP? Sum of first n terms of an AP? N by 2 into 2a plus n minus 1d, or n by 2 into first term plus last term. So we are told sum of first 25 terms is 500. So it will be 25 by 2. 2a plus n minus 1 into d is equal to 500. Okay. Don't just memorize this formula. Make sure you know how this formula is actually coming and why this is working this way. That will help you a lot while solving new kinds of questions. Sum of next 75 terms. Okay. So 5250 is from 26th to 100th term. This sum is 5250. But how do we write this 26th to 100th term? Then we'll have to calculate the sum till 100 terms and then subtract the sum till 24 terms. So this will be from 1st to 100, 1 to 100. This will be from 1 to 24. When we subtract this, we'll get the sum from 25 to 100. Okay. What is a better way? See, here we'll have to write this such similar expression 2 times and then subtract that for different values. Better than that is, we know that first 25 terms is 500, next 75 terms is 5250. So we can simply say that first 100 terms is 500 plus 5250, right? So already we are given that first to 25th term ka sum is 500 and we are given 26 to 100 ka term is 5250. We have used this one alone. Now let's combine these two and then we'll say sum of first to 100th term is 500 plus 5250. That means sum of first 100 terms, 100 by 2, 2a plus n minus 1d. Oh, n is already given to me, right? So here n will be 25 in the first equation and here n will be 100 in the second equation, is equal to 5250 plus 500 is simply 5750. Now we have two equations, two variables a and d. We can easily find the values. So let's try to eliminate this. I can see that a can easily be eliminated. How? So here we have 2a. If I just divide the LHS, the second equation by 4, then I'll get the coefficient of a will become same. Okay. So dividing the second equation by 4, what do we get? We get 25 by 2 multiplied by 2a plus 99d is equal to 5750 by 4. Okay. Now subtract the first and second equation. So this is my first equation, this is my second equation. Let me copy this. Okay, so I have this. I can simply remove this middle thing. Okay, and I'll move this upwards. So I have these two equations. Now we need to subtract these. Okay. In fact, I can take this denominator to the right side as well, right? 25 by 2. I'll take this to the right side. This becomes 1000. I'll take this to the right side. This becomes whatever. The denominator here will become 2. So subtracting these equations, what do I get? 25 is still common. 99d minus 24d. So this is 24d. 25 minus 1. That becomes 75d. 2a got cancelled. I have this as 5750 divided by 2. That will be 2875, right? 5600 ka half is 2800. 150 after that ka half is 75 minus 1000. This becomes 25. This becomes 1875. Now we'll try to cancel 25 with 1875. What do I get? 25 multiplied by 7 is 175. 25. I have 12 left. 12 multiplied by 5. 12 and 5, 125. And then dividing that by 25, I get 5. Okay. So 75 again get cancelled. I get d is equal to 1. Okay. D is equal to 1. What is the value of a? So I'll put this in the first equation. So I get 25 into 2a. Let me write this here. 25 into 2a plus 24 into d. D is 1. So 24 is equal to 1000. Okay. Dividing by 25, I get 40 here. So I'll get 2a is equal to 16 because 2a plus 24 equal to 40. A is equal to 8. Okay. A is 8. So I have, for the AP, I have a is equal to 8, d is equal to 1. If the first and ninth terms of this AP are the second and third terms of a GP. Okay. So what is the first term of the AP? 8. What is the ninth term of the AP? Ninth term of the AP will be a plus 8d, which will come out to be 8 plus 8 is equal to 16. Okay. So I see the common difference is 16. Are the second and third terms of the GP. So this is G2. This is G3. Okay. So what will be G1? G1 will be 4. Okay. Because common ratio is 2. So divide this by 2. What is the sum of first 6 terms of the GP? Okay. So sum of first 6 terms. What is the formula for sum of GP? Again, don't memorize this formula just like that. Also know why this formula is working like this. Derive this formula. Okay. First term is 4. Common ratio is 2. Number of terms is 6 minus 1 divided by 2 minus 1. Okay. So 4 multiplied by 63 is what I get. 2 raised to power 6 is 64. 4 multiplied by 63 is double this 2 times 126, 252 is my answer. 252 is the B option here. So try to do some of these calculations in your head and not write each of those calculations. And also such questions are very good for practice, okay, and revision. Because see, what all did we do here? We used simple concepts of AP, simple concepts of GP, sum of AP formula, sum of GP formula. So even though it is very basic question, very basic conceptual question, but when you revise, what you want to do is you want to pick questions which cover multiple concepts in a single question, so that एक question करके ही you are sure that हाँ चलो मेरा AP का sum formula भी हो गया, GP का sum formula भी हो गया. Otherwise you will have to do multiple questions to cover these 3 or 4 concepts. ठीक है? So always when you are practicing, make a habit of marking such questions जिनको बाद में revise करने से ज़्यादा chapter cover हो जाए. Moving on to question number 4. If the equation this and this have a common root and PQR are in GP. Okay, PQR are the coefficients of this, DEF are coefficients of this equation. These equations have common root, PQR are in GP. Then P by D, Q by E, R by F. So these corresponding fractions P by D, Q by E, R by F are always in which progression, or all of these. Okay. So let's see how to have a common root. So first of all, let's see PQR are in GP. So that will tell us something about the roots of this first equation. Okay. So let's say roots of this first equation are alpha and beta. So that way we'll have alpha plus beta is equal to minus 2q by p, and alpha beta is equal to r by p. Simple quadratic concept. Okay, I'll write this again. R by p. Okay, sum of products and root of products. Sum of roots and product of roots. Sorry, I messed that up. Okay, so P, Q and R are in GP, which means that Q square is equal to PR. Okay. So you could write Q is equal to under root PR. So I'll write Q is equal to under root PR. So alpha plus beta becomes minus 2 under root, Q is PR, so this becomes R by P. Okay, alpha beta is equal to R by P. So here we don't have any Q, so this simply remains RP. Okay, so I have found a relation between alpha plus beta and alpha beta. These are only RP. So I can write alpha plus beta is equal to minus 2 times under root of R by P, which is equal to alpha beta. So I can write minus 2 under root alpha beta. Squaring both sides, what do you get? Alpha plus beta whole square is equal to 4 alpha beta. Or you can say alpha square plus beta square plus 2 alpha beta minus 4 alpha beta is equal to 0. So the left hand side finally becomes alpha minus beta whole square is equal to 0. And hence we get alpha is equal to beta. Which means the first equation has equal roots and the roots will be alpha. Basically first equation has roots alpha and beta, where alpha is equal to beta. So you can say that alpha is always a root of the second equation as well. Okay, because these have at least one common root. Okay, इनके जो दो रूट्स हैं फर्स्ट इक्वेशन के, उनमें से एक कोई भी एक सेकंड वाले का रूट भी होगा. नाउ दैट पहली वाली इक्वेशन के दोनों रूट्स इक्वल हैं, then we know that that root is going to be root of the second equation as well. ठीक है. Now what is the value of alpha? Alpha equal to beta, मतलब दोनों रूट्स इक्वल हैं. Alpha plus beta is equal to this. Okay, so what is the value of one of those? So this becomes 2 alpha is equal to minus 2 under root r by p. So we get alpha is equal to minus under root r by p. So this is the root of the first equation. Okay, how did we get this? By only using the fact that p, q and r are in GP. So we know that minus under root r by p is a root of this equation as well as this equation. Okay, so we'll put minus under root r by p here. So what do we get? We get d into r by p minus 2e under root r by p plus f is equal to 0. Now we need to find something for p by d, q by e, r by f. Okay, so see, we have p here, but we have d also. We have d by p. which is similar to P by D. So we need to get rid of R here. For the second one, we need Q by E. E hai, but we don't have Q here. So we'll have to do some manipulation with P, Q and R to get Q here. And F के साथ भी R चाहिए. Okay, so first of all, I'll try to put Q, try to introduce Q in the second term. वो कैसे होगा? See, Q was under root RP. So what will I do? I'll remove P from this thing. So I'll get under root P is Q by under root R. Okay. So I'll put this here. So I get D R by P minus 2E under root R divided by under root P, which is Q by under root R. Okay. Q divided by under root R plus F is equal to 0. तो यहाँ एक R आ गया, यहाँ एक R already है. So I'll divide this entire thing by R. So this gets cancelled, this gets cancelled, and I get another R here. So what do I get? D by P minus 2E by Q plus F by R is equal to 0, which means D by P, E by Q, F by R are in arithmetic progression. Okay. We are asked about P by D reciprocal of this, Q by E reciprocal of this, R by F is reciprocal of this. Okay, so the answer will be harmonic progression. Why? Because the reciprocals of these three terms are in arithmetic progression, which means these three terms themselves are in harmonic progression. Moving to question number 5. Okay, this is a classic type of question asked multiple times in CAT and other exams. So you need to know how to solve this, or you can spend some time to think about it. Okay. So see how we are going to do this one is, so we have the first term as 1 plus root 2, root 2 plus root 3, root 3 plus root 4. These are all the denominators. So हम LCM तो ले नहीं सकते क्योंकि बहुत complicated हो जाएगा. And first of all, this is under root 1, right? Because under root 1 is equal to root 1. Under root 1 is equal to 1, and then we get a pattern. So what will we do in this case? We know that the pattern we can see is always in every denominator, the difference of these two terms is 1. 2 and 3 difference is 1. 4 and 5 difference is 1. 143, 144 difference is 1. Okay. So we have to somehow get to these difference to make the denominator equal. Okay. So we know that under root a plus under root b hai. If you multiply this by under root a minus under root b, we'll get a minus b. Under root a plus under root b denominator mein hai. Okay. Then you will multiply this by under root a minus under root b, let's say. What will you get? A minus b, because of the a plus b into a minus b is a square minus b square. And then a minus b is constant for all of these terms. So we'll try this. Okay. So for the first term, what do we get? We get 1 divided by root 1 plus root 2 multiplied by root 2 minus root 1. Okay. What will this become? And I'll write root 2 minus root 1 here also, obviously. So that I'm multiplying the same term in the numerator and the denominator. So the actual sum doesn't change at all. Okay. So the first term becomes under root 2 minus under root 1 divided by root 2 plus root 1 into root 2 minus root 1 will become 2 minus 1. So the first term is root 2 minus root 1. This is the first term, A1. What is the second term? Second term is simply root 3 minus root 2 divided by root 3 plus root 2 and root 3 minus root 2. Again, if you cancel the root 3 minus root 2 thing, you will see that the second term is exactly equal to this thing. Okay. So again, this becomes root 3 minus root 2 divided by 3 minus 2. So this becomes root 3 minus root 2. Similarly, A3 will be root 4 minus root 3. Okay. If you see, when you add all of these terms, some of these terms will start getting cancelled. So under root 2 get cancelled here. Under root 3 get cancelled here. Similarly, the last term will be, how many terms exactly are here? So the first term has root 1. The last term has first term as under root 143, which means there are a total of 143 terms. Okay. So let me write this here more clearly. So we have A1 as root 2 minus root 1. A2 as root 3 minus root 2, A3 as root 4 minus root 3, A4 as root 5 minus root 4. Following this pattern, final term A143 as root 144 minus root 143. Okay. So if you see, for all of these terms, the second term gets cancelled. In fact, how do I put it? the second part of any term gets cancelled. Sorry, I think I messed that up again. So these root 2 getting cancelled, root 3 getting cancelled. Okay. So the first part of any term gets cancelled with the second part of the next term. Okay. So root 3 gets cancelled. First part of any term gets cancelled with the second part of next term. Okay. Similarly, we see everything get cancelled, and finally here we'll have under root 143 minus under root 142. This will get cancelled with the previous term. 143 get cancelled with this term. Ultimately, I am left with under root 1 and under root 144, which did not get cancelled. So the sum will be under root 144 minus under root 1 is equal to 12 minus 1 is equal to 11. So the final answer is 11 in this case. Okay. So this was a simpler case of a CAT question we had in 2018 or 2019. So that was in fact a little more complicated than this. Let me quickly talk about that question also, so that you are able to solve the generic case as well. Okay. So that question said to calculate 1 by under root a1 plus under root a2 plus 1 by under root a2 plus under root a3, and similarly from going to under root an minus 1 to under root an, where all these terms were in AP. So a1, a2, a3 till an are in an AP, and you have to calculate this value. Okay. So this can be done in a very similar fashion. Okay. So what is the first term? I'll write capital A1 as this one. That will be under root a2 minus under root a1, because I'm assuming that a2 is bigger than a1, so I'm writing like this. And in the denominator you already have under root a2 plus under root a1 here, and I'm multiplying this under root a2 minus under root a1. Very similar fashion. Okay. I'm just multiplying under root a2 minus under root a1 in the denominator as well as numerator. The first term is still the same, and this becomes a2 minus a1, which is the common difference of the AP. Let's call that d. Okay. So this becomes under root a2 minus under root a1 by d. Similarly, the second term becomes under root a3 minus under root a2 by d, and the nth term becomes, or the n minus 1th term in fact, because if this is the first term, this is n minus 1th term. Okay. This becomes under root an minus under root an minus 1 divided by d. So when you add all of these, what is the sum that you get? I'm writing this here on the left hand side. S is equal to this a1, a2 get cancelled, a3 get cancelled, similarly an minus 1 get cancelled. You are left with under root an minus under root a1, an minus under root a1 divided by d. Okay. So this is your final answer, and you can also write d as, what is d? So d is an minus a1 divided by n minus 1, right? Something like that. So you can solve this question like this. So just make sure that you understand this entire style completely, so that whenever you get such a question next time in CAT or any other exam, you can solve it. So these were the solutions for the first 5 questions that we had in the quiz today on sequences and series. So our link will be coming up on your screen shortly, which will take you to the part 2 of the solutions video, where you will get the solutions for 4 other questions. So definitely make sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel for all upcoming videos, and even more important than that is for you to attempt these quizzes and mock tests live on the Facebook group, which will help you interact with a lot more aspirants and help you get these mentoring sessions with me, which will be of great help for CAT 2020. So make sure you join the Facebook group here. The link is also in the description below, but you can also use the shortened link bit.ly/QuantShala-FB. So make sure to join this group and start attempting these quizzes and mock tests live. Okay. All the best. Keep learning.